Welcome to ChanNews. Today's story comes to us from the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, where many became furious after a pole dancing demonstration featuring young girls aired on a morning television program. Pole dancing classes for children have been defended by a sports governing body after claims were made that they sexualize youngsters. 2 weeks ago, 3 girls aged between 8 and 11 performed a pole dancing routine on ITV's This Morning. They were invited to come on the show to provide context for the debate concerning whether children should be allowed to take part in pole fitness classes, as some experts are claiming it's sexualizing young girls. After the public demonstration, the pole intentions classes were harshly criticized. Their pole dance instructor, Zoe Hardy, said that their pole dancing is about sport and has nothing to do with sexuality. The International Pole Sports Federation defended the pole intentions classes for children and said that classes like those help train future athletes. They said, and I quote, "Children are our future pole sports athletes, and just like any sport, we need to train our athletes from a young age." End quote. 3 years ago, the Federation allowed children to compete in the World Pole Sports Championships, and they even have a youth pole sports coaching course. Their spokesperson said that in order for it to be recognized as a sport, it needs to have the same things as other sports, including child competitors. Pole Sports UK agreed with the World Pole Sports Championships and said that the participation of children should be celebrated, not criticized. They said, and I quote, "We are actively trying to encourage people outside of the industry to see past the immediate connotations surrounding the term pole dancing to recognize that pole sports is so much more." End quote. Psychologist Carrie Nixon criticized pole dancing lessons for children by saying that, I quote, "Pole dancing is inextricably linked to sexuality. The whole notion of pole dancing historically goes hand in hand with the sexual aspect of dance, so therefore it is linked and we can't get away from that." End quote. Many viewers seem to agree with her, as evidenced by the large number of negative tweets related to the girls' performance. One man wrote on Twitter, and I quote, "Anybody else concerned by what looks to be child pornography on ITV hashtag this morning?" End quote. Zoe Hardy said that pole dancing itself isn't sexual, that the only thing making it that way is the way adults choose to perceive it. She also mentioned that they are moving away from the strip clubs to a different kind of pole performance, which is a sport. Lorraine Hanbury, whose 11-year-old daughter attends pole dancing classes, said that there is no provocative dancing involved. She said, and I quote, "She used to compete in gymnastics, so to me it's no different to that, it's just that bar is a different way." End quote. Pole dancing has been known to exist for almost a millennium, but only in the last couple of decades did pole dancing become associated with strip clubs. In the last few years, there have been attempts to change people's perception of pole dance and promote it as a non-sexual form of dance and sport. It is possible that Zoe Hardy is giving pole dancing classes for children with no intent to sexualize them. It may have not occurred to her that this would be an issue and that people would perceive this as an attempt to sexualize children. Parents who enroll their children in pole dancing classes claim to think there is nothing wrong with it and that to them, pole dancing is no different than climbing up and down and spinning around a pole in a playground. As shown by the public response, that opinion isn't shared by everyone, and there are large numbers of people who have a problem with it. It doesn't really matter whether the girls, instructors, or even some of the fans perceive the pole dancing as sexual. What matters is that it can and is likely to be perceived that way by many people, and that those girls will be exposed to that perception. After all, many people have visited strip clubs for the purpose of sexual stimulation and have watched women do the same moves as the girls in these classes. Some might claim that in an ideal world, that wouldn't cause anyone to perceive those girls in a sexual way, but it would be unreasonable to argue that we live in an ideal world. Whether you believe that the blame lies on the spectators for sexualizing the girls, or the parents and instructors for putting them in that position, the fact remains that if the girls were in a different sport, it would be much less likely to happen. Since there are so many existing sports with a solid history of positively contributing to the development of young girls, one has to wonder why any parent would choose to enroll their daughter in pole dancing instead of another sport. Thank you for watching ChanNews. We have it covered.